Guys, before you go on to this clip, please don't forget to press the subscribe button for more content like this. We post all our clips on this channel from the podcast. I know you're going to enjoy this quite a lot.
But then I also meet with Indians now like that. I meet with young Indians who are like, unko pata nahi hai kaun hai. Like, randomly I might ask people and I say that, my God, there's a generation of, American style bachas that we have.
Yeah.
Who's just so content in their
Kylie Jenners and right.
They're so Instagram oriented that they know everything about the new soaps on OTT. They know everything about Insta and they know all about music. They are not politically active, savvy. Maximum is like, Masi abua bore hoga kya? That's all.
No, I'll frame this better for you. There is an entire generation raised on memes. And so memes and the guys on memes are much more relevant than Prime Minister Modi for them. It's this, I was sitting with this very popular Indian businessman I will not name, and he said something to me. He said that the old guard does not realize the means of consuming content have changed and therefore the means of consuming products have forever changed. Where people go for watering themselves is very different from what it used to be. There are no secular brands possible because there is no television as a medium now. So you cannot create a brand that cuts through, like a Lux that cuts through the aspirations of the tier 2, tier 3 India and then the relatability of tier 1 India.
Yeah.
You have to create niche brands around niche content consumption holes. So Prakhar is a whole, and alongside Prakhar is a Vinamra, a Ranveer, or a Smita, and they're all podcasting audience.
Yeah.
For them, you can create a microphone or something of that nature, right? That'll work for people who watch podcasts. But the people who watch podcasts may not be watching memes or vlogs or something of that nature. And if you look at how people talk now, I don't know if your Instagram's like this, it's just reels being sent to each other we never watch. Like my friends, they never say, how are you? They will send me a funny reel to say, I thought of you.
Eeks.
Right? And then nobody ever watches them. We also know you did not watch my reel, but this is my way of saying I thought of you today.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I know what you mean.
And so
it happens to me and I fight back. My mom will send me something like this and then she did it and I have to just call up and say, WhatsApp is not mother-daughter relationship. Will you please call me or can I call you and can we just converse?
My mother will recount the reel on the phone because she lives in Ahmedabad. She's a judge. So 5 days a week she's away. She'll call me be like, I saw this reel. I will tell you what this is. And she will describe the reel. मैं इस पे कैसे हंसूं मम्मी? Like, बेच तो दो.
Yeah. No,
right.
But, I heard this, who is it? I think Manoj Bajpayee, if I'm not mistaken. No, Pankaj Tripathi. So Pankaj Tripathi का एक मैंने देखा था, short था. Interview podcast. I don't know where I saw this, and in which he said, which he repeated when I had him on the podcast because I said, please say this.
Okay.
Because it was, he said that his daughter, I think at the dinner table said that, this really, whatever, why don't you do it? And he said, देखो जितना तुम Instagram पे reel देखना चाहते हो ना, देख लो. हाँ, 1 घंटा, 2 घंटा, decide. 2 घंटे के बाद तुम reel पे reel देख लो. Then you shut it. And just think, in that 2 hours, did you learn anything? Has it opened your mind in any way? Has it enriched you in any way? 2 hours of your life you have given.
Yeah.
Right? तुमने कुछ सीखा उससे? नहीं सीखा, right? So then I said, yeah, he is probably younger than me or my generation, but what gyan he's given. Fabulous. It was just a simple thing.
No, but what have I learned from a Priyadarshan movie? What have I learned from any movie in India? Except like you could give a handful of Amir Khan movies between 2005 and 10 that were sort of impactful in, kuch dyslexia hota hai, all that.
Nahi yaar, Hindi movies is so much gyan.
Like which
Always
one?
Family gyan.
Right, sure.
Good winning over evil.
But वो memes में भी आता है. Like, मेरा point ये है
खाक आता है.
I think India loves
Mazak,
escapism.
yes. I understand that sometimes it's a stress buster. So I can understand, people doing it because they want to bust their stress.
Sure.
I don't have any objection to that. But now what I've realized is that whenever I download a podcast, I download something. So I'm not looking into something. I'm going to
Neck.
get a camel neck.
Yeah.
So I don't want that. So I'm not looking into my phone. I'm listening to something and walking. And I saw that happening in so many towns and cities in Europe and in
the US.
People go out for walks and they're not listening to music anymore because music has become techno.
Yep. So
And
it's
that
all
jing
repeated.
chicka jing chicka jing chicka.
Right.
I don't want that.
I love that, but I still agree with your point.
I cannot take that. Jing ticka tick ticka tick ticka tick tick. I cannot take nightclubs. I'm sorry. I'm like.
No, I
years
can't take
older than
nightclubs
you.
either, but I love techno as a music form.
Okay, I don't.
I can
I'm not.
think on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's the same loop being repeated. And suddenly, after like 20 minutes, you're like, wow, I have a clarity of thoughts because all the background noise is absorbed by this.
Okay.
So it's a weird thing. I'm
be.
pretty sure it's a generational thing. But you're very right. I got into podcasting because I was walking all the time in New York.
Huh.
And so I was listening to it. And I was like, this is way better than anything else I can do with my
Yeah.
time. You can't walk anywhere here. There's no walkable cities in India, right?
You're sitting in the car. And there are, in Bombay, I have so many people telling me that they listen to the podcast when they're in the train, when the locals. It's 1 hour from one station to the other station. To laga liya. At least it's taken away your mind has gone away from the smells and the sounds.
Right.
It's
Which
a
is
lot
a
of
loud
escapism.
part of... Yeah, I'm telling you, I think India consumes content. This was my hypothesis when I started doing content last year. And this is like post-election. Before the election, I was like, I want to talk to people and understand their point of view. After the election, I was faced with, where are you going to go from here? And I wrote a single sentence. I said, people come home. Rich, poor, busy, unbusy people. They all come home after tiring days of work and they don't want more gyan. They want to laugh. They want to relax. And in that laughter and relaxed whatever content, if they learn something, like for instance, in this conversation, it's such an alive conversation. We've laughed a couple of times. We've gotten emotional. And then they learned about trauma and terrorists causing trauma at large scale. They will take that home much, much better than if I'm like, okay, now Smita, tell me how does media operate?
I know.
Because that they block out. They've had enough. Their boss was
वो
scolding
chat
them.
GPT में मिल जाएगा.
हाँ. It's a Google search away.
Google search, yeah.
So I think Indians in general love their escapist fantasy. All the cinema I watched growing up, which is 2000s and early 2010s, was all escapist, all fantastic. It was only when a Gangs of Wasipur did its realistic thing and then a Pankaj Tripathi, Manoj Bajpayee, that era started coming about where we were like, show us some real stuff. We are frustrated by fantasy. We've seen enough of this needless insertion of romance where there is no romance. It's a military story. Stop showing me romance here.
I know, irritating it used to be.
Yeah,
right?
यार मेरे को नहीं देखना ये एंगल वो लड़की रो रही है वो रो रहा है अरे उसको
But
मिले
see, no, that's an Indian thing now.
Yeah, it's an
हम
Indian
लोग जब if you go to restaurants, I mean, you might go just with your pals or whatever, but
Right.
most of us have gone to restaurants with parents, no?
Right.
With our family, cousins or whatever. तो सब कुछ होना है ना? Indian, Chinese, Western.
वो मंचूरियन भी आना है दाल मखनी भी आनी है हाँ और पिज्जा भी आना है पास्ता भी आना है
So
राइट
you went to a war movie, you had to have एक गाना तो आएगा ही.
गाइस अगर ये सुन के आपको भी लगा वाओ मैं भी ऐसे सोचना चाहता हूँ मैं सीखना चाहता हूँ ऐसे कैसे सोचते हैं तो क्या करना है सब्सक्राइब का बटन सब्सक्राइब